How do you break up with someone who holds your life in their hands? I came to America on a fiancé visa for a man I thought I loved. By the time I realized who he really was, he had already made sure I couldn't leave. The first 6 months were perfect, and he was everything he'd promised when we met online. Then the small comments started. Things like, "Your accent is embarrassing. Don't talk so much around my friends." Then came the control, and one day he took my passport and said it was for safekeeping. He gave me an allowance instead of access to the bank account and told me he'd take care of everything. The first time I questioned anything, his face changed completely. He said, "I spent $8,000 bringing you here. I own you until that's paid off." He reminded me constantly what would happen if I left. He'd say, "You're only here because of me. One phone call to immigration and you're on a plane back to nothing. You want to spend 6 months in detention? Because that's what happens." He made me quit the English class I loved and said, "You don't need to talk to other people. You have me." When I cried, he said, "This is the problem with foreign women. So emotional, so ungrateful. Any other man would have sent you back already." I tried to pack a bag once while he was at work. He came home early and found it and went completely calm, which was worse than the screaming. He burned everything in the backyard while I watched and said, "Try that again, and I'll have you deported before you can blink." He got worse every month. He'd come home drunk and scream at me for hours about things I didn't do. He'd say, "You think anyone else would want you? You're nothing. Without me, you don't exist in this country." One night he threw me into a wall because I didn't answer his text fast enough. I had a bruise across my back for 3 weeks. I had no one to tell because he'd made sure of that. No friends, no family, no coworkers, just him. I spent 2 years not allowed to work, not allowed to have friends, not allowed to exist outside of him. My only freedom was 1 hour at the library each week while he was at work. He thought I was grocery shopping. I spent those hours looking up ways to escape, but everything I found confirmed what he told me. If I left, I'd be deported. If I went to the police, they'd call immigration. There was no way out. I started to believe I would die in that apartment. One day at the library, I couldn't stop crying. A woman sat down next to me and said quietly, "I used to have bruises like the one on your wrist. Can I tell you something?" I almost ran because I was terrified, but something made me stay. She said, "There are protections for people like us. When your spouse abuses you, immigration protects you, not him." I shook my head and said, "He told me there's no way out." She said, "He lied. That's what they do." I believed my husband for 5 years until someone told me the truth. She gave me a number for a lawyer who helped women like us for free. The lawyer looked at my bruises and said if I could document the abuse, I had a strong case. Over the next 3 months, I photographed every bruise with a hidden app and recorded his screaming through the bathroom door. I kept a journal with dates and details of everything. I hid a packed bag at the library and waited for the right moment. One night he came home and said, "I saw you on Maple Street today. I told you to stay home. Who were you meeting?" I said, "No one." He grabbed my throat and shoved me against the refrigerator so hard my vision went white. He said, "If I find out you're lying, I'll make sure they never find you." I looked him in the eyes and said, "I want to break up." He laughed like he always did. "We've been over this. You leave me, you're on a plane within a week." I said, "No, I won't." He stopped laughing. I said, "I talked to a lawyer. When your spouse abuses you, immigration protects you, not him. I have 2 years of evidence. Photos, recordings, details of everything you've done to me." His face twisted and he moved toward me. "Give me your phone right now." I said, "The files aren't on my phone. They're with my lawyer. If anything happens to me, she sends everything to the police." His voice went soft immediately. "Baby, I'm sorry. I love you. We can work this out." I said, "You told me you owned me. You said you'd make sure they never found me. That's not love." He started crying. "I'll change. I swear to God I'll change." I walked to the door and said, "You told me there was no way out. You lied. That's what you do." He screamed that I was nothing, that he'd find me wherever I went. I opened the door and said, "I'm not your property. I never was." The woman from the library was waiting in a car outside. My